welcome back to another Just 5 Mins. Um, okay, what have we got this time? Well, a windsurf editor. Okay, although I wouldn't really advise going windsurfing with a laptop unless you're very, very, very good. I don't know. Maybe you are. Anyway, what is it? What is it? Well, it's the rise of all these AI sort of editors now, code editors, and extending that. But again, yeah, because we covered one a week or two back, I think, which is the Cursor AI setup. Which first sort of sorry, let me start again. At first blush, as they say, I looked at it a little while ago and couldn't really find. Well, it had this, it had that, but it was built on Visual Studio Code, and I thought, well, why do I need to use Visual Studio Code and Cursor? I've already got one. Um, but I must admit, Cursor actually had a few tricks up its sleeve, which, if you want to, just have a look back on the last, I don't know, the last podcast, I think it was, or the one before that. And I did, of course, like everybody these days, I did a just 15 minutes video on YouTube, so you can find that there as well if you're totally bored and you've got nothing else to do. So, yeah, I'll put the links to those things below. But Windsurf, it's built on VS Code again because it's open source. So there's probably going to be a complete flurry of these ones. But interestingly, I'd heard the name, I'd sort of got the idea, okay, it's another AI sort of like IDE. But as usual, I sort of missed a little bit of the depth to it. First of all, it's built by Codeium that I've done a podcast about quite a while ago, actually. And Codeium, when it first came around, it's essentially a bit like GitHub CoPilot, an add-in for your AI sort of coding flow. And the good bit about it is that it had plugins for virtually everything. JetBrains, IDEs, Visual Studio Code, Visual Studio itself, and also it had, even though GitHub Copilot is just about starting this now, Codeium had multi-model approach too. So you had GPT-4o and all the rest of those, but you also had access to Claude Sonnet and a few others as well. And it was nice because you still had to pay for it. There was a free version, which gave you so many completions or so many instructions, but ultimately it was really nice the fact that you could use it virtually anywhere. So they've taken one step forward even, and built their own editor, but it's got quite an interesting little twist again. It's got all the good stuff for what you'd expect. A bit like GitHub Copilot, it can help you with your code as you're writing. You can ask questions and say, how do I do this in code? What does that code do? All those things. But they now bill Windsurf as the first agentic IDE and then some. And actually, when you have a look down at what it does, and the links are going to be below, of course, have a look at their video. But also, if you look at their homepage, and by the way, there's a free version to start with. Again, just go and check that out on the website. But they really do have an agentic flow. In fact, they actually call their offering flows. Okay, so yes, you've got the usual AI stuff like I've mentioned, but you've got flows, and they are actually agents, and they can use different models for different things. So you can start off with, basically, they say it's a Copilot-like collaboration merged with agentic independence. Okay, but the point being is, it can go through, it can reason and have rational thought about what it's trying to do. And then because it's AI agents, it can actually, really go through a sequence of those sorts of things and use different models for different things, which is quite an interesting thing, actually. So flows are quite interesting. But they've also got, they're taking an evolution of chat as well, something called Cascade, which it's really nice, actually. It's got deep code base understanding, you know, and it's got a breadth of advanced tools, as they certainly say. So the idea is it's got another layer on top of the normal chat. It can actually sort of go a little bit deeper than the normal AI chat, even though we've got history in a lot of these things. It's got some really good features in the Cascade aspect, but goodness me, yeah. It's again one of those things where you think, oh, not another Visual Studio Code, you know, clone and all the rest of it. But again, quite impressed with what Codeium did in the first place with their add-ins. But now to have that, and the good thing is, by the way, it is VS Code underneath, so all your plugins, all your other stuff will still work. And of course, you can use GitHub Copilot, but it does have quite a lot more features, and it's going to be quite an interesting one to have a little play around with. So that's what I've got this time around. Hope you're well. Hope you have a good weekend or a week, wherever you are listening to this. And we will catch you on the next one.